Restaurants across Mississippi are shutting down because nobody's working for them. I gotta tell y'all all this gossip. I'm in like 20 Facebook groups across the state, and a lot of groups are talking about it. Before y'all get mad that I make a joke out of everything, it is sad, but it's incredibly hilarious. So 5 restaurants, 5 in one city that's adjacent to me, had shut down recently because nobody will work for them. They can't find anybody that will work for them for their pay. It's literally so bad that the management and friends of management that are like trying to pretend it's not management, you know what I mean, are posting in local Facebook groups saying, this restaurant desperately needs workers. I heard from a friend. If anybody's looking for a job, they are desperate. They literally can't open because nobody's working for them. There's no employees. And it's hilarious. I was
working at Walmart because it was the only job that hired me in this economy. I'm a 38-year-old millennial that's been working since 2004 when I graduated high school. I've had a lot of jobs over the years, you guys. That was not my first and only job. I've been laid off at Bank of America before. I worked at the airport. I've worked for restaurants like California Pizza Kitchen, PF Chains, TGI Fridays, T-Mobile, DirecTV call center. I've even worked for a law firm, and it's always been the same. Underpaid, overworked, to the point of burnout, living in constant fear that you're gonna get fired for what? Just to fulfill someone else's dream, to pay rent for an apartment that I never get to be at, only just enough time to sleep and do it all over again.
The job I just interviewed for at the end told me they pay $45K. The way I was holding back tears, and I am right now. Data analyst role located in New York City requires several years of experience. And I know something is better than nothing, don't get me wrong, but the salaries I have been seeing for certain jobs, I am shocked with how low they've gotten.
I'm just lost and confused on why is the pay rate in Texas still so low, and they charging an arm and a leg for these apartments. Why are you charging people $1,400 for rent, and then the employment places are only paying $11? Who is going to be able to live somewhere and y'all 1-bedrooms are $1,400? And that's not including everything at the end of the month. That's just $1,400 flat. We're not including the valet trash. We're not including the water. We're not including light bills. We're not including people have to pay daycares. They got their own things outside of rent, and y'all only paying $11. And then y'all want people to work their backs into the ground. And then when you apply at these jobs, they want you to learn and know all this stuff for $11. Yeah, no. We gotta do better. At least up the pay to $16.
Can someone explain to me why is it that the minimum wage is not a livable wage? Because I'm not really understanding, and maybe someone can explain it to me because it really doesn't make any sense. Here in the state of Florida, the minimum wage is $12 an hour. And I understand that most people do not get paid minimum wage. A lot of people get paid more than minimum wage. But here's the problem with that. A lot of companies think that they're being generous because they're paying above the minimum wage, when minimum wage is literally like on the floor in hell. Like, you cannot live on minimum wage. If you are getting paid minimum wage, you need government assistance. You are living in poverty. You are making less than $20,000 a year. Not one person can survive on that. You're making less than $20,000 a year working full time. Why is that the minimum wage? I don't understand it. The minimum wage should be set based off of what is the minimum required to live in the city in which you are employed comfortably. Right? It only makes sense. Because how is it that these million and billion dollar corporations are making all of this money? Like, literally the CEO of Walmart just bought this super fucking yacht, and his employees, the people who are stocking his shelves and literally giving their lives to this company, are living in some of the worst neighborhoods and in the worst conditions. They can't even barely afford to feed their families. Like, and they're living on government assistance. It doesn't make any fucking sense. Like, does anyone else not see this? Does anyone else not care? My job pays me double the minimum wage, but guess what? In my city, I still can't survive on that. That is still not a livable wage. So when are these companies going to actually start paying their employees who are giving their livelihoods, giving their time, a livable wage, of being able to live and survive in the city in which they are employed? That should be the basic requirement. And I know I'm not the only one that feels this way. Of course, there are other jobs. I can go and get another job. I could get another higher paying job. But that's not the point here. The point is that these companies are making millions and billions of dollars and they're paying their employees pennies. Their employees are unable to survive. In a country like America, anyone that's working a 40-hour job, spending their lives working for a company, they should be able to survive and afford the basic necessities to live. But we don't, and that's the problem. So look, one of two things needs to happen. Either they increase the wages or they lower the rent and the cost of living, because we can't keep doing this. The majority of Americans are struggling right now. People need dual income or even more just to afford rent. Most Americans can't even afford to buy a house right now. Shit is screwed. Like, what are we doing, and why are people not more outraged? Like, we should be taking to the streets and striking. We need to do something.
I'm unemployed. If you follow my page, you'll know that by now I've been on a journey, honey. Left my last job due to my mental health, and now I'm currently in search of a new job. But today a recruiter called me, and I just had to tell her the truth. So a recruiter calls me and tells me that she has a position for me as a patient care coordinator in Alpharetta, Georgia, and it is in person. Now, I already don't want to go into anybody's office, but I told her, ma'am, if you don't live within 5 to 10 to 15 mile radius of where you're going to work in Atlanta, the traffic, it's not even worth it. I said, so please tell me the salary matches these requirements along with this location, along with being in person. She said, well, what are you expecting? I said, I don't want to tell you what I'm expecting. I just want to know what the salary is. What is the budget for this position? She said, they're paying $18 an hour. I said, ma'am, respectfully, you need to offer this job to a kid who just graduated from high school or somebody who just retired, and they can couple that $18 an hour with a retirement check. I have 10 plus years of experience. I went to college, busted my behind, coding classes, got an IT degree, specialized in health informatics. I offer people to tell me I'm worth $18 an hour. You can kick rocks. I'd rather be poor and work for myself and figure out my business until I can get it off the ground. There's other things I could be focused on right now than working for somebody for $18 an hour. So respectfully, ma'am, no thank you.
People are always saying that the average American makes $45,000 a year. Where does the average American work? I want to make $45,000 a year. Are you kidding me? The most I have ever made is $30,000 in a year. Where are these people working that they're making $45,000? Like, don't just tell me that they're making $45,000 a year. Where do they work? Is their job hiring? I need more details. Like, where are they getting these numbers from? I don't think I know anybody in my life who is making $45,000 a year. Like, that is insane. I think that's like the average, only because like there's literal billionaires who are making like so much in a year that like regular people, they're like, oh, the average is 45,000. The average person, I would say, probably makes like 30,000, like 35,000. Like, you're not making $45,000 an hour on like a $15 an hour fast food salary. Like, where are the people who are making $45,000 a year? Where are they working? Are they hiring? Tell me that, America!
So this administration said they're going to bring back factory jobs and factory workers back to the United States. Let me ask you something. You think people want to work in a factory? You think people want to work in these warehouse jobs? You ever worked in a warehouse job? How the person that says they're going to bring back something in the United States ain't never been a part of that type of system? Warehouse work is back-breaking slavery for low wages. What, you going to get a little bit, $20 an hour? Back going to be hurting. Risk of daggone hurting yourself on a job. Tired all the time. And don't work third shift, because that's even going to be worse. Factory work. All these administrations need to go on education. You know why? Because with education, you can teach the next level of these children how to be innovators and then create stuff that we really need instead of stuff that you're just trying to fill a place for. Factory work. Nobody wants to work in a factory, dog.
people aren't getting paid what they were getting paid 6 months ago. You know, you see new entrants to the market, you know, like there were headlines from Walmart, even on the white collar side of like people coming into like Goldman Sachs or whoever, like those jobs for new entrants into those companies, they're not getting paid what they were getting paid a year ago. And that's a big part because even though we are seeing that number tick up slightly in terms of the job openings, the quits rate has actually stabilized. And that suggests that people have far less ability to negotiate the salary they want. Being underpaid is very different from unemployment.
What's on my mind right now is minimum wage jobs, employees, and mindsets. I have seen so many times on this app people saying that they don't get paid enough to do their job. I'm not talking about the situations where, you know, you have to deal with like Karens and like people yelling at you and throwing stuff at you. Like, no one should have to deal with that. Like, no one gets paid enough to deal with that. I'm talking about doing your job correctly. As an example, I posted a video complaining that Marshalls put something back out on the shelves that I returned because it was broken, and they didn't like mark it down or, you know, advertise that it was damaged, which means that someone will have to go through what I did and purchase the item and, you know, have something broken and may not have the ability to return it, like they don't have the receipt or their way of the packaging. I don't know. Some of the comments were saying, we don't get paid enough. What do you mean you don't get paid enough to do your job? Like, having that mindset is going to keep you from succeeding. I've worked a lot of minimum wage jobs, so like I totally understand like not getting paid a lot and feeling like you're doing a lot of work and not getting a lot of reward. But sadly, in the capitalist society we live in, that's just how things function. And doing nothing is not going to solve that problem. So step one is to change the mindset, because if you're in the mindset where you are not doing your job 110%, you are not going to move up, you are not going to become like a manager, you're not going to make more money, you're not going to get a better job. I think the higher achieving, the better. This is coming from like a chronic overachiever. Like, I cannot do anything like that is expected of me by other people without doing it 110%, because I hate letting people down and I want to do my job correctly. I have done the most tedious jobs without getting paid. So like an internship, for example, where I'm just getting like credit for a class. I promise you, I put so much more work into that internship than if I was just going to take a class and get credit for it. And it sucked. But I was good at my job. And, you know, that has its benefits and will help you succeed in life. Because if you constantly think like, oh, I don't get paid enough for this, oh, it's not worth it, then you're just going to underachieve and you're not going to meet the bar and you're not going to succeed. Another example is teachers. I know a lot of teachers literally do not get paid enough to do what they do, but they still do it because they care about their job and what they do affects other people. That's essentially also what I'm trying to get at, not only being successful, but also impacting those around you. So if I'm a teacher and I get paid salary, assuming that it's, you know, the regular school hours, that does not include time spent outside of those school hours doing work. I don't get paid for that. So should I just not give feedback on essays because I don't get paid enough for that? Or should I still do 110% and do my job correctly because it's going to benefit my students and it's also going to make me feel better about myself and make me a better teacher? Other people are going to recognize that, and that's how you move up in life and get more opportunities. My whole point is stop underachieving, stop having that mindset, because it doesn't only affect you, but affects those around you. And let's just all be successful here.
Hey, so the federal minimum wage hasn't been raised since 2009, and currently it's not enough for anyone to survive in any state due to the high cost of living. Can we raise it? No one is forcing you to have a minimum wage job. Those aren't even real jobs. They're for teenagers. You should have gone to college. Hey, so I went to college, and between the predatory rates and compounding interest, I'm paying what many pay a month for rent in monthly payments for my student loans. Is there any way I can get help so I can afford to live? No one told you to go to college. These whiny babies, this whole generation is just filled with entitled whiny babies.
Walmart is currently hiring for $19 an hour. And that's just the starting wage. If you work nights, it's even more. What's so crazy is 9 years ago when I was in high school, I got my first job, and it was at a grocery store doing almost the exact same type of work, and it was for $8.50 an hour. I remember it was a big deal because that summer is when they raised the minimum wage to $8.50. I thought I was making so much money. Fast forward to after I graduated high school, I started going to community college, and I got a job that paid me $9.10 an hour. Fast forward 2017 to 2024, basically 7 years, and now we have the starting wage more than double. And you know what? They're having a hard time even finding people to work at those prices. It's not crazy to think that a place like Walmart would be hiring for $40 an hour within the next 10 years. And here's the same exact thing at Target. The place is basically a disaster because they can't hire enough people to actually clean it up. It's crazy. So $20 an hour, places like this right now are paying about 40 grand a year. That means when they double again in 7 years, they'll be paying 80 grand to work at Walmart or Target. But nobody really knows how doomed we are. So make sure to hit that follow button to follow along.
I just moved to Texas like a couple months ago. How come no one told me $7.25 an hour is the minimum wage here in Texas? It's 2025. How is that even possible? $7.25 an hour? $7.25 an hour? Are you for real? The highest paying job I can find is like $10, $11 an hour. What am I supposed to do with $11 an hour? I have kids, 3. So here I am door dashing because I feel like I can make more money door dashing. Or I wish I would have done my research because this is crazy. Like, I just don't see how they expect people to live off of $7.25 an hour. Even $10, $11 an hour. That's crazy. And they say everything's bigger in Texas. The pay isn't. I might just go back to selling burritos. It's really the only way out at this point. So, stay tuned.
Can someone please tell me why the job market is so bad right now? I literally had an interview like a couple of hours ago, and on my way to the interview I was like, wait, I feel like I've been here before. And when I got there, yes, I've been there before. I literally was there a year ago in an interview. And we had the interview, whatever. The interview went well, and then the lady goes, oh, like, I don't even want to tell you how many people have applied. And then she tells me 87 people applied, and I'm like, oh my god. And you know, when there's 87 people applying, it kind of lowers like your expectations of you getting hired. And I literally told her, I was like, oh, I feel like so many people, you know, have applied because the job market is so bad right now. Like, it's terrible, it's horrible. 2 weeks ago I had another interview, and the lady literally told me like about 60 people applied. And again, it kind of was like oh my god, like it makes me like overwhelmed and stressed, because again, it's like less chances of you getting hired for this position. And it just feels so stressful because I literally haven't had a job since August, and it's about to be February, and I've applied to so many job positions and nothing. I don't want to say I'm losing hope, because I'm not, because I really want to be as positive and as optimistic as possible, but like, damn, it's really degrading, you know. And I have a whole bachelor's in global business, and I've applied for my major in jobs, but I just get rejected and rejected and rejected, and it's so degrading. Like, I don't understand why the job market is so horrible right now. Like, I can't believe I can't find a job. Like, you guys don't understand how much I wish I was already where I want to be. And I know we have to take obstacles to get there, but like, damn, I feel like it's taking longer than I expected. Like, I don't know why I thought that right after college I would have like the job of my dreams. And like, it's crazy. It's very sad. It's very sad, very stressful, very overwhelming, very degrading to have a whole degree and to not have a job, to apply for a bunch of jobs and go to interviews and still don't have a job. Like, I want to be successful already, not only for myself but for my mom too, you know. Like, she works so hard, and I just wish I could give her everything that she gives me. I wish I had a job already, you know. And I know it's not just me like going through this situation. I know it's a lot of us, because the job market is really bad. So I know it's a lot of people that don't have jobs, but I don't want to lose my faith, and I don't want any of you to lose faith either, because I know one day we're gonna have the job of our dreams. And honestly, I'm just praying I find a job soon. And for any of you out there watching this video that don't have a job, I pray that you as well find a job soon. A job that makes us happy, a job that we love, a job that it's not toxic, a job that's filled with a healthy environment. And I'm sorry for crying. But yeah, I hope we find a job soon, because honestly, like, the job market needs to get better. It really needs to get better. We need to find a job. Like, I'm really getting impatient, but I'm not gonna lose hope, and I hope neither are you. But thank you for listening to my little rant, and I hope you all have a wonderful day. Bye.
Did you guys hear about this? In the state of California, if you make $100,000 a year, you're actually considered poor. No, I'm not kidding. Take a look here. Residents making an annual income of up to $109,700 are considered poor in some counties in the state of California. Do you remember as a kid thinking about $100,000? Do you remember what that felt like to just dream up, what if I made $100,000? And now that is being considered low income. Honestly, it just makes me curious about the state of California and its future. I mean, thinking about how insurance costs have skyrocketed in the last 12 to 24 months, it kind of makes me feel like the only people that can survive that economy are the people that are already there. Like, how can you start a life in California? It seems like impossible. You would have to have some type of wealth to have any leg up to be able to purchase a home. And I feel like for first-time home buyers, it's really just a pipe dream of owning a home unless you have a rich grandma. I don't know, I could be wrong here because I'm just a simple Alabama mortgage guy. But let me know in the comments what you guys think.